So I'm very fortunate to work at the Labor Education Center, who value cultural work. We know how important it is for us to tell our stories, for us to share our perspectives through a variety of different mediums. So I'd like to point out the mural in the corner. If you haven't seen it, in New Bedford, we have a mural banner that you can take a picture of, and Kim Wilson orchestrated this really incredible mural that's become a signature and a symbol for New Bedford that intertwines labor history, abolitionist history, Frederick Douglass as a centerpiece. So we also have some mural posters for you to take with you, right? And we're fortunate to be in an area where we're surrounded by labor history, and we can learn from this history when we're thoughtful and reflective. So as we heard from President Liz Schuler, you're actually in a site, right? One of the big flashpoints of the strike of 1928. And you might have heard Liz mention how there were 12,000 workers surrounding this mill because 13 mills went out on strike, and the workers here, when they went out on strike, were replaced by scabs. Workers came, 2,000 workers picketed for 2.5 days. They stopped the supply of food, they stopped the supply coming in and coming out of this factory, and after 2.5 days, the bosses had to give up and stop production. So we're very fortunate to know stories like that because of local labor scholars that dedicated their lives to collecting oral histories. We continue that at the Labor Ed Center. Dan Georgiana, who's sitting there with the beige suit. Working alongside with Roberta Hazen Aronson, produced the Strike of 28. And we're going to hear some venues from a play that was produced by Russell Ramos. So we're going to turn this room into a union meeting room where you're going to hear the voices from real labor leaders that were part of the Strike of 28. We know some unions have called for strikes in 2028. So we need to learn from, in the 100th anniversary of the Strike of 28, from the lessons of that strike and other strikes. We need to learn from organizers like we're going to hear from Sadie Reich, who was an organizer, who's portrayed by Barbara McDonald. And she's going to explain, she's going to share interpretation of the facts that she was organizer here on the ground in New Bedford. We're going to hear from Charles Perry, who was organizer with the Pullman Porters Union, who was in solidarity with this strike. And then finally, we're going to ask for the cast of the Strike of 28 to come up to the stage along with Dan Georgiana. And we want to recognize their important cultural work, right? Gallery X was packed that night of the play. And I dare say there were more people there than if we would have tried to have an event that was a lecture, right? We're reaching people through a variety of different mechanisms. Kim orchestrated a photo exhibit. You know, we encourage people to use music, poetry. We need every tool we can use to express our perspectives. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to our first union meeting participant who's portraying Pullman Porter during the Strike of 28.
In the struggle, In the struggle between these two organized groups, race and religion do not count. The manufacturers try to force you to recognize them. They place French against Portuguese, Polish against English, knowing that when they get them divided, they can ride upon the beds of ease for centuries to come as the employees remain divided. I also have a poem for you. And the title of this poem is Starvation. Starvation. At the wake of starvation, I feel shallow coins in my pocket. I sift through the crumbs across my family's dining room table. All I have is to pay the rent for a roof over our heads. Starvation looms over New Bedford's shoreline as preparations awaken us to unify our hunger pains. Division remains. Because the hunger pains are physically hurting and financially feeling weightless in our pockets. Plantations have new forms along the tracks and within the factories made of bricks. Starvation. At the wake of starvation, I feel shallow coins in my pocket. I sift through the crumbs across my family's dining room table. I am unable. I am unstable. And a strike in 1928 is on the table. Starvation in my pocket and on my table. Thank you.
May I have your attention, please? Please, gentlemen, may I have your attention? My name is Katie White. I'm from the Women's Trade Union. I'm here in Bedford with Rose Schneiderman, who happens to be president of the league, and Josephine Payson, who has recently joined us and has shown a lot of promise. I was sent here to Bedford to organize this strike, and as a result, there were many issues. Number one, no 10% wage cut. Ladies, you can't even live on what you earn now. How are you going to live on 10% less? No speed ups. We all know what happens with that. You become careless. And what happens? More injuries. And we want a shorter work day. You'll have 10 to 12 hours as fire alarm. You ladies leave the mill. Your job's not done. You have to go home and cook for your family, clean the house, cook the meals, do the laundry. If you have children, you spend some time with them. And most of all, we want equal pay for women. Ladies, think about this. You are 50% of the workforce. 52. 50%. Those mill owners need you. Oh, they won't tell you that. They need you. Now, the mill owners, their argument would be, well, most of you are Portuguese, Polish, French Canadian, Cape Verdean, you speak very little English. Some of you don't speak any English at all. Well, you're not even included in the craft unions. Why? Because they consider you unskilled labor. So the mill owners say, well, you only deserve half the pay or less pay. Well, we will not accept this. Can't continue. Now, I said earlier that Rose is here in Bedford, but she's down at one of the mills. But if she was here, she would say to you, in the old days, women always worked more cheaply than men. And if they held themselves out as cheap, they were cheap. You ladies have got to remember this. Those of you who do a man's work, organize with your husbands. Don't let those mill owners divide you. What you need here is one big union in the textile industry. It's your own awakening. You know, several days ago, I was down at the Sharp Mill, and I got arrested. And as I look around, I see many of you who were there when I was arrested. And I see some of those ladies who helped with translating and explaining. Why, you see over here, Mr. Ramos. ¿Cómo está, señora?
Great.
¿Cómo está, señor? Obrigado for your help. And I see, oh, Clara Bernier, comment allez-vous aujourd'hui? Oh, merci beaucoup pour votre assistance avec la femme française. Et aussi, je connais que votre mari et moi est un overseer dans son travail. I often wonder what goes on in the conversations at the dinner table. And then I see over here, Mrs. Pasta. You know, my Polish is worse than my Portuguese. Fine. Jak się masz? And I do hope that means how are you? Dziękuję for your help. And you know, as I said earlier, I was arrested down at the Sharp Mill. I was leading a picket line. Oh, there must have been 4,000, maybe 5,000 people there. Strike breakers in the crowd. Well, you know what happened there. They tried to get into the mills. The police were called because riots broke out, fights, complete chaos. Well, I was leading a picket line. Sergeant Bilo from the Bedford Police Department came over to me and he said, "You there, you have to disband your picket line." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Because you don't have a permit to picket." I stood there and I said, "I will not disband my picket line." So he arrested me. I told you, I didn't want to be arrested, but I wanted to stand on my rights. Now, I can't talk too much longer since I just received word that there's a big problem down at the Kilburn Mill, and I need to get there. There must be 15,000 people there. So, let's go. But ladies, I want you to remember this. 1920, we fought for the right to vote and we won. 1928, we will fight for equal pay and we will win.
Yeah.
So ladies, as I vote to go out, I want all of you to go forward and continue to stand up for our rights.
Of organizing with the Women Porters Union. So now I'd like to call the director of the strikers, a Russell Ramos, to the stage. And I'd like Daniel Georgiana and the full cast of the Strike of 28 to come and join us on the stage. Thank you.
Kim, I want to thank all of you for coming out and just participating like this. This means a lot, not only to the actors and also myself. This is a really big opportunity for me to be involved in this. My background is in acting. I've done some PBS specials. For those of you out there who want to see Into the Deep, you can go and see it. It's 22 seasons so far. Rick Burns had produced it. I had a good time in that. I portray a whaler in the production. And by the way, if you want to see the production, just find Group, just find Media Biz, find Media Biz. Go ahead and check it out on YouTube. It's Strike of 28, UMass Labor. It's a really great video. It was amazing working with everyone. This was our community actors that put this together, and they did an amazing job. So I just want to thank everyone here for letting me, allowing me to have this opportunity to direct this production, because it meant a lot to me that I can't even explain. It would take all day to let you know that. So again, thank you very much, and have a good evening.
So please, if the full cast could come and join
Join us. We want to thank you all.
There's a beautiful poster that Russell has. It's a poster from the production that we did, and we have a pile of them, as well as posters of the mural in downtown New Bedford featuring Frederick Douglass. On your way out, feel free to grab one or two of those posters, and please take the plants home on the table, another little gift to bring home. So I'm going to turn it over.
Can I just say one thing? Dan, can you come over here a minute? Most important, because I knew he was going to come up here, is that this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Dan. I sat down with him, and he was real open to let me introduce the play to him, and I really appreciate him, because if it wasn't for him, this wouldn't have happened. So thank you.
He was a director.